TNA talent though. We're talking about politicking, and it's like, dude,
Mhm.
TNA. I'm sure you've heard about it. I don't know how much do you watch TNA, or do you stay up with the product, or were you trying to there when they were kind of getting hot again?
I think so. I was off and on with it. I used to watch it a lot back in the day because of some ties that we talked about. Simplify it. Got a relative that spent some time there,
Mm-hmm.
so it was one of those things that I paid attention to. I would kind of fall in and out of it. I think it wasn't until around 2017, I think, is when I like got right when I got back into it because I could see that it just wasn't. There was a vision and that it was going somewhere. So I always kept up, even if I couldn't catch the weekly shows, because a lot of the networks that they were always on
Mm-hmm.
didn't have. So I'd have to find it. I'd have to find somewhere on the internet to watch it,
Right.
or until they started doing the TNA Plus thing. I think you don't pay like $1 on YouTube, and then you could just watch the shows.
Yeah, 99 cents, man. I was fortunate
Yeah,
to be in Canada. They're always playing TNA on some channel, so I was able to
yeah.
catch it.
So yeah, you
But
didn't have to try to hunt for it. But yeah, I think in the last like 2, 3 years, I've been paying more attention to it. But yeah, I'd probably say since 2017 on, but heavily like pre-pandemic 2019 to now, I've been like I go out of my way to watch more
good.
amongst other shows I'd rather not watch.
Yeah, no doubt. So basically what's going on, I'm sure you've heard about, they get white hot, they do the white hot, I call it, whatever, but they were hot
Yeah,
for TNA. They did their biggest house in 8 years. They do the Hard to Kill pay-per-view. Scott
which was
Demore,
awesome.
it was awesome. Nick Nemeth comes out there. It seems like TNA's turning everything around. All of a sudden, Scott Demore gets fired from the company.
Oh my
And
God.
I don't know. There's rumors that he was trying to buy the company, or they're trying to take this to the next level, maybe be gearing up for a sale. So they got the pro wrestling guy kind of out of the picture and brought in like a sports business guy. He helped this guy they put there. I forget his name, but he helped get like WWE on like Sportsnet in Canada or something like that.
Okay,
But the TNA talent, they all wrote a letter that I'm not going to read right in full because it's
I
so
read
long, but
it. It's
they
long.
yeah, they wrote a letter rather being like, yo, to the Anthem people being like, yo, we want Demore here. Like this is see what I did there? Demoralizing to us that Scott
Shit. Oh
Demore is
shit.
not
Okay.
backstage. Yeah, I got bars, dude. And so they all tweet out these hourglass tweets, all of the TNA talents tweeting out hourglass tweets. And then Josh Alexander's contract came up, and I guess he asked Anthem, this is all dirt sheet hearsay, but he asked Anthem not to pick up his option. And then they did, though. They did pick up his option. So just basically, what's your thoughts on like Demore leaving? The momentum they had, it's sort of a little bit squandered. Nick Nemeth and shit don't give a fuck because he's used to WWE, where like he doesn't
Yeah,
care. If guys like that don't care,
he's
but the
getting paid
people
either way.
who've been building that brand up, and Josh being like, "Well, I'm getting out of here," and they pick up his option, they're strong arming him a bit. What do you make of all of this?
I think it's a poor way of trying to show tactical dominance. Like they're as kids say, they're trying to stand on business. They got rid of the wrestling guy because the wrestling guy is telling the people in the boardroom that just look at it as like a pretty valuable asset. I'm like, okay, well, this is good because from what I was hearing, Demore was really trying to get them to spend more money to where they could have been competitive. Like when they
Mm-hmm.
were trying to get Punk, when they were trying to get Mercedes, when they were trying to get Okada to
Mm-hmm.
do all those things. And then also, I hear that he stood on business in terms of making sure that talent was actually like respected when on other shows because that Forbidden Door stuff and they hoard themselves out for like a year. That was probably the one thing that I thought that Demore did wrong.
Yeah,
Like that whole thing with giving Kenny all the belts and shit and
that
doing
was
all that. So them getting rid of him, thinking that the talent would just assimilate and go with what they're trying to push. It's like all you're doing is just you're setting yourself up to get notices when those contracts are up. And Alexander was just basically trying to show solidarity and then also saying like, we've been here before. We see where this is going. We this is a lot more of the same that put us in the hole that Scotty got us out of. I don't want this option, and then they just pulled like it's an NFL move. I'm gonna pull the franchise tag because I don't want you to go anywhere else. I don't really want you, but I don't want you to go anywhere. If anybody else can have you, then if I can't have you, nobody else can have you. So I'm gonna keep you here, unhappy, and it's an extra year. You can just let him go.
I
At that
know.
point, you let Demore go because we have no idea what happened. other than him wanting to buy the company? What?
Yeah, well, there's people like Nick Hausman, and someone else tweeted some shit out that I screen grabbed because he deleted it like a motherfucker like a minute later.
Oh, I bet.
But it was something about one of those. I think it's like Steve. I don't want to say anyone's name because I forget exactly which dirt sheet guy it was. But and then Nick Hausman was like, oh, like these, like D'Amore's friends with Callis and he's friends with Jericho, and those guys are basically implying like they're creepy fucks, and D'Amore is some way like that. And I like Nick Hausman, but I started calling him out. I was like, dude, tell us what you know or shut the fuck up, because
Oh, after that Kylie Ray thing, yeah, I
yeah.
had no problems with him until that.
Well, the Kylie Ray thing, I kind of appreciated him for. I was like, at least somebody. I was like, at least
No, just
somebody's like
retracting.
calling the shit out and being honest about the
The hundred
NBA. But
percent, the
then,
hundred
but then
percent.
it drummed up so much shit, and then people ran with it against Jericho way too fucking hard to where it's like, I don't know, man. I agree. It just pissed me off. It was like, Hausman, you shouldn't double down and triple down on this shit unless you're gonna spill the beans, or I don't know. I don't know,
Or at
man. I
least
felt
stay,
like it's
stay,
even
maybe
disrespectful to
steadfast with it.
Kylie Ray. Sorry, you go ahead.
Oh, it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least be steadfast with it. My thing was, of course, call Jericho out on that bullshit. We've all heard things, and the way
Yeah.
that he goes about it, or that, like, when he had that I don't want to call the young lady, whatever the young lady on that outed him on Instagram with all the pictures and stuff, and when all
Right.
that was
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I screen grabbed that
Just,
too. I did a video on that. Yeah.
yeah, it was crazy. So it's just like, as much as people say about the about other people, I'm like, I wouldn't necessarily keep Jericho too far out of that. But then again, the Zealots love the song, so that's what we're gonna do. I saw the amount of bullshit that he got from that, and I was just wondering, like, okay, if he doubles and triples down on Jericho, but when it came to that part, I feel like, at least outside looking in, it's not something that she can or is ready to speak on yet.
Hmm.
But him doing that was kind of like, I'm sure she appreciated it, but at the same time, like, hindsight is like, as much as I appreciate it, this didn't really do much. And my thing was the way he doubled back on it. It was just kind of like, you know what? No, I would just say, you know what? It's not my place to comment on it.
Yeah.
These are just
Yeah.
things that I've heard and seen, and this is somebody that I do not care for a multitude of reasons. So I wouldn't put it past them happening. But it was just the way that he don't start so strong just to kind of cower towards the end. Like, you can back down or retract a little
Yeah.
bit without cowering, and that was the part that I didn't like.
Yeah, man. And then just to kind of throw D'Amore in that group of like, oh, well, he's kind of with Callus. And then someone else, I wish I have the screen grab. Someone said some shit like, Apple doesn't, like, some saying, like, basically insinuating like this dude's friends with Callus, so he fucking, but they deleted it swiftly. And yeah, I just don't know if maybe because we just have no idea what happened with D'Amore ultimately at the end of the day. So